Heavenly Father, JEHOVAH, the creator of heaven and earth, the giver of life and the keeper of all our days, we come before you on this holy Sabbath day, the day that you are sanctified as a sign between you and your people, to rest from all our labors and to dwell in your presence. And as the sun sets still, of your peace fills this earth, we lift up those whose heart are heavy with sorrow, those who walk the path of grief because of their lost their loved ones. And you have written in your word, to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven. Oh, Father, it's a time to be born, it's a time to die. And we ask to teach us, oh Jehovah, to understand the season of life, that what you planted, you also gather. And what you give, you call home. So I ask to comfort those who mourn and those who seek comfort. I ask those who mourn with the assurance that even in their tears, your hand is near. So I ask, Father, to let them have sweet memories of their loved ones. Be as gentle wind and bring warmth to their spirit, reminding them that love is never lost but transformed, carried into eternity. So I ask to strengthen them, oh Father, in their weakest hour, when their hearts ache and loneliness surrounds them. Be their refuge when their questions rise like storms. Speak peace in their souls and show them the beauty of your works. The sunrise and the stars and the rhythm of the season, the breath in their lungs. And all these are signs of your unseen power, that they may believe that you are the creator of all things. I ask to bless them who truly seeks you and seeks the words of Jehovah, not with empty words, Father, but with an earnest heart. And for those who are poor in spirit, breathe into them the comfort of your presence. As your Son declared, blessed are they that mourn, they shall be comforted. And let your promise be filled in their lives today, Father. So as we rest this Sabbath day, let them taste your holy rest. And not just a pause from labor, but a deep peace that flows from your throne. So I ask to let this Sabbath day be a shelter where burdens are lifted, where grief is transformed into gratitude, and where sorrows give way to joy and remembrance. So may your spirit dwell richly within them, bring light into their darkness, and they may find hope of your resurrection. That great promise, Father, that you always have said in your word, the dead in Christ shall rise first. I ask, Father, to be their anchor until the day that those who live with you and their lives have towards you, they are united to those who love your everlasting kingdom. So, Father, I pray this. This I pray in the name of Jehovah, to bring peace and stability to each and every one that is following you. This I pray in Jehovah. Amen.
Okay, now I know it's recording.
Back to it.
Okay. So
All right.
so the same thing is Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 5. When I want it. You can back see my Bibles, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ecclesiastes 2, 5. Okay. It says, for gold is tried in the fire. So then an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. So we got to look what that confirms this refinement process. As we looking at scripture and we just want to understand that. So with this hundredfold belief, we have to understand it represents pure gold without mixture. So these why I said even earlier, these rare souls believe. So they refined so that they faith currency is now becomes with a limited purchase power. And that's in heaven's currency economy. That's why I even said, even in there, I know I quoted that because I know it's talking about Jehovah himself. Now he underwrites the tender, backing it with his infinite treasury. So they commanded itself for their faith dollars are back now by belief in God that so pure the heavenly release is unlimited resources. So when they can sit there and say, mountain be moved, it's going to move regardless. Actually, Wisdom of Solomon 3:9, it actually tells you some of this right here. Let me see. Wisdom of Solomon 3:9 actually gets into this a little bit more. And it says, and they that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide in him, for grace and mercy is to his saints. So that's why a lot of people sit there and say saints, call everybody saints, but they're not real saints. And they carry in his elect. So that's why that happens. That's why this to get into that. But the thing is, they don't have no purchasing power. They got currency, faith, but their faith ain't really backed by gold. So their faith is without those works. So this is why a lot of us have those problems. This is why our purchasing power, a lot of people is operating on less than 30 fold because they gold backing it don't equal their faith currency, which that exchange principle actually, even when you even see because every time I'm gonna keep running and I'm gonna have to stop doing that. But when we look at Luke 6:38, you'll see it again. Luke 6:38. So it says, give unto it shall be given unto you. But the main thing is, and it says good measure, meaning your measure of goal, how you doing it, your backing, what you're doing. And pressed down and shaken together, run over, shall men given unto your bosom, for the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again. But the thing is, a lot of us don't really trust. We don't trust what we do. We're saying good things. Actually, me and you spoke about that. Was that me and you speaking? I believe that was me and you speaking. Where you see a lot of people sit there talking about how much they love. I love God. I love God. They'll fall all over the floor. How much they love God. But if it was a gun put to their head and they ask them, how much do you love God? If you say you love God, I'm going to shoot you in the head. I promise you, you'll see a lot of people sitting there saying how much they hate God. It's automatic. These are automatic things. Why? Because they really don't love God.
Mm-hmm.
They love the principle of what it stands for, but when it really comes to it, are you really willing to stand for it?
The equivalent of Peter denying Yahushua.
Exactly the point. That's exactly the point. Because a lot of people will sit there and say how much Yahushua, oh, they this and that. So how can they sit there and truly say they love Christ or they love Jesus? They love Yahushua. How can they love him when they never laid eyes on him? Ever. They telling you a lie. They standing in your face. They spitting in your face and telling you it's raining. Technically, what they're doing because it's not true, and the reason it's not true because they know they never seen Yahushua. So belief determines. It's going to determine the value of your currency. Your belief going to determine your currency. Meaning, if your faith isn't there, your currency, you got wasted paper.
Understood. Got you. So let's go on to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not cutting you off, am I?
Mm.
All right, let's get it. So question 2, based on works as evidence of belief, the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
James declares faith without works is dead, being alone. This is in James 2:17.
Mm-hmm.
According to the lecture Spiritual Economy, what is the true function of works, right, in relation to faith and belief? And how does this differ from the common understanding that works earn salvation?
Mm. So works as evidence of belief.
Works in relation to faith and belief. How does it differ from the common understanding that works earn salvation?
Okay. So we'll look at this with a little deeper side of this, what we'll get into. Okay. Start here. James. Can you see it? You see my Bible?
Yeah.
James 2:17.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, even so faith, it have not works, is dead. So what I want you to do, and what everybody should do, is take faith. And now you look at works. Works, you have to base that as on doing something. That's based on belief. So faith without have not belief is dead. Because belief going to produce works. You follow me? So
yes, sir.
You say, yea, a man say that thou have faith, and I have work, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, without thy belief. That's what he's saying. And then it says, I will show you my faith by my belief, because he's going to be doing it. You follow me?
Yes, sir.
This how this end up working. So this is going to be dead based on other ways that people do it. So when you look at it as with a full understanding of this, a lot of us will sit there and say we have faith and we have works, and it's really not there. This is why a lot of times I speak more bluntly, because in context it does not mean being inactive, but it's worthless. It's just like the Confederate dollar and like going to war. But even though with that paper, and you look at Confederate paper today, it has no back and has no gold there, so it's worthless. It's a worthless piece of paper. So it functions as a visible manifestation, but it's an invisible belief that you need. So you have to have a belief in gold. So these are not separate. So from faith, but rather than the proof that belief gold exists in the vault to back the faith paper currency. So even when you see up there with James, he declared that faith without works is dead. He revealed that the same thing. Such faith is literal. So dead currency or paper, if it impresses fools, which is in heaven treasury immediately, but it recognizes is still unbacked. So it's unredeemable. It's worthless, just worthless paper. You know what I'm saying? And this is what a lot of us. This is what a lot of us. And we have to change from that. We have to change from that understanding. We have to look differently from that, because from the common misunderstanding that works earn salvation, works
Right.
do not purchase salvation. Faith currency backed by belief gold purchase salvation. But works prove that that gold belief it really exists. So they gold weight is made visible, and the proof is substantial reserve. See, but it's backed by the paper promises in the manifestation of that, and it transforms faith from that to mere currency until the negotiable tender, and then that works in the heavenly economy. Any other way, it don't work.
Beautiful. So I can look at the difference between the common understanding that works earn salvation in a layman's fashion. Can I see it as simply like going to church buildings, or going to or say I'm on camera giving somebody money, that like just doing simple things like that make it seem like I'm earning some sort of salvation by those works. You know what I mean?
You
And
can't say
that is
you can't say it better. The reason
got you.
the reason why, when you sitting there saying, I'll tell you what, let's look at what you just said and show you how perfect that's a good example. When you get ready to go to church, do you wear what you have? You put on a suit, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Put on the
Yeah.
suit. You're gonna look real dapper. You're gonna make your hair right. You're gonna get your hair cut. You go get right. Walk in there. The women, even though I hate to hit women a lot of times, but a lot of you guys, you're gonna sit there. You get up at 7 o'clock to go to church at 10 o'clock because it's taking you 3 hours to get ready. So when you go there, you want to look a certain way. Now, you got all this look, you go in there, and now you're hearing a message on whatever it is, and you're getting all this information. Now the bottom line is you go in there supposed to be getting gold belief, so you can actually build more currency of faith. You follow me?
Yep.
But what they doing, they go in there picking up a whole bunch of faith, and they don't have no gold to back it. So now when it comes down to it, their faith is worthless. So when they try to cash it in, it's worthless. It's just worthless piece of paper.
We're trying to hand in monopoly money at this point. Gotcha.
Technically, that's all what they did. So the paper just becomes a mountain of mountain of just toilet paper.
Got you. All right. So let's move on to question 3 then, and deals with the default covenant of faith. Faith, FATE. Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So your lesson taught that every soul born into Adam's race is automatically enrolled in a contract of fate, FATE, until they consciously choose the contract of faith. Cool. What scriptural evidence supports this concept of a default covenant, right? And how does one transfer from the economy of fate to the economy of faith?
Wait a minute.
I'll run it again.
Well, yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, because see, I don't know how many of them actually listen, because they pulling something directly from my lesson. So I'm trying to, yeah, wait a minute, run that again.
Got you. All right. So you were speaking when you brought up Adam, the race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all born to Adam, right? And we were
Mm-hmm.
born right. So we through him we all earn death, straight up. So you said every soul that's born into Adam's race is automatically enrolled in a contract of fate
Mm-hmm.
until we consciously choose the contract of fate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question was, what scriptural evidence supports this concept of a default covenant?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
And how
one,
does one transfer? How does one transfer that economy between faith and faith? How do you transfer? So we coming into faith. How do you transfer that into faith? That
okay, one,
contract.
yeah, one, faith going to produce works. That's one. I want to make sure we're clear on that. But we don't attempt to manufacture works to create faith. Instead, increasing your belief in, say, your belief in goal. So through meditation, one,
Mm,
Jehovah promises, and works will naturally manifest as evidence. So the same
mm,
thing as a tree it produce fruit. Fruit does not produce the tree. So that's one. So then we reject dead faith. So if your life demonstrate no works, you possess dead faith. Works lives, spiritual currency. Then you can stop deceiving yourself with empty declarations on what most of us do. And actually, right there, we can
so
go
at
down to
that point,
219.
you're just moving through, going through the motions.
Exactly. Because you see right here in 19, it says, thou believest there is one God, thou doest well. The devil also believe in trembles. That's why that is even said, because that declaration is a true statement. And we know that scriptures actually supports that. But now we see with these demons and how it is going, when we possess intellectual faith,
Mm,
intellectual faith, and that's faith paper, but no belief goal. And so then it's backed by works, making your faith worthless even for salvation, ensuring that your faith differs from demonic faith by producing works. That your evidence is a genuine belief of gold. This I'm down. It's so important to where we really have to make sure exactly what we want to do with a default of this covenant fate, because some of us going to always have that covenant of fate, and it actually fools us on what we actually want to do. And I want to show you actually one of that, because every soul, because we got to remember that every soul that's born, because that's one that you want to do, every soul that's born
yeah.
unto Adam's race, that this world automatically enrolls us into the covenant of fate. And I
Yep.
believe that's what you were saying. So
Yes, sir.
the same thing is, I want to show you the same thing with what it goes here in Romans chapter 5, 12. It says, wherefore, by one man sin entered into the world, and by death by sin. So death passed unto all men, and to all have sinned. So no matter what, we all sinned, no matter what, because it's passed down. So since it was also passed down, we can still all achieve the same promise that was given. But what I'm talking about, that's to Israel. That's holding what that is. So that's revealed sin, and then death function as the default operating system when we're dealing with that to all Israel. We got to keep that in mind. So when we establish in fate as the automatic covenant, that's what gets us in more trouble, because fate operates as a spiritual bondage, and it's not spiritual freedom. But in their mind, they think it's faith, and it's not. So that's why you see a lot of people sit there and say, like I was saying earlier, it'll be what it'll be. They say that. So well, whatever going to happen, or we'll sit there. Oh, won't tell you what? It was it was they find $100. Oh, it was fate. It was faith that
Mhm.
did that. and they just so happen need $100, and they find so happen $100.
So in the real world, can we equate that? Not saying that that's what it is as concrete, but can we put under that category the word luck?
Yeah, but luck is witchcraft. A lot of people don't know that either.
Okay. Okay.
But a lot of people will put as luck would have it, because it's witchcraft.
Mm. So essentially, fate, the default of fate promotes slothfulness.
You said it, even though it's true. It's true, but yeah, but actually, that's what it defaults to.
Got you. All right. So let's roll on, man.
Let's roll. Let's
Uh,
roll.
we got question number 4 coming up, and it concerns the two thieves as spiritual economies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we want to compare and contrast the spiritual operations of the two thieves which were crucified with Christ. Okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what specific spiritual principles did each thief demonstrate? One, how do their responses reveal the fundamental differences between operating in faith versus operating in fate?
Mm. 1 second, I was gonna just eat this last. Can you repeat that real quick?
Yeah, I got you. I'll give you a chance to chew on that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're going, like I said, comparing and contrasting the spiritual operations of those two thieves who were crucified with Christ. Okay. Um, which specific spiritual principles did each thief demonstrate specifically, right? And how do their responses reveal the fundamental differences between operating in faith and versus operating in fate? So
Mm.
the two thieves, what were their principles? What principles did they demonstrate, and and how did they operate in faith versus faith?
Yeah, still within the identical circumstances.
Yeah.
Yet, yet
Yes.
even with that, producing eternally differences outcomes, we still got to look at both. Both
Okay.
still being hung up on a tree. Both still
Hmm.
facing death. Both still witness Christ. They still witness the suffering. Yet only one entered into paradise, while the other descended into destruction. And that was really just based on the differences. Was not their it was not their circumstances, but it was their spiritual economy based on, again, going back to faith, and based on faith, because the unbelieving thief operated in faith. And what did he say? Hey, save yourself and save us also. That's operating in faith. I want to see you first save yourself, then you save us. So that's faith. That's faith, FATE economy, but it's demanding proof before faith. So then if Christ can save, actually, we're going to tell you what, let's look at Luke 23, 39. But let's look at that real quick so I can go off of Luke 23. Where my thing is going? Luke 23, 39. So that's why I said one of the malefactors, were hanged, railed on him, saying, "If thou be Christ." See, he's not sure who he is, but it's the same thing as the guys who was out there on the boat with Jonah. You pray to your God. We pray to ours. You pray to yours. But he said, "If thou be Christ, save thyself first. Save you, but we need you to do something. Save yourself first, then you save us." So this reveals this is conditional faith. Because if you save yourself, now I can believe you. Because you saved
Yes,
yourself,
sir.
because now you can save us. That's what they're going to hold to. So it is faith that requires this demonstration. Now, let's take that a little bit closer.
Hmm.
That's why you hear the guys in the churches, they'll go by and they be talking, and they sitting there saying, "The Lord is showing this way." Ooh, shout out, ooh, about that. You hear that go on? It's, ooh, dang, that guy is highly spiritual. He's the so then what they'll also do, they'll get people where Benny Hinn was famous for doing it, where he'll get people who's in wheelchairs, and they'll have them. But then most of those people he paid for it because his dang nephew actually interviewed him and actually told what they were doing. They'll come up and then he'll remove their wheelchairs and then he'll make them walk to him. But guess what? People see it.
Yep.
And once they see it, this man got to be a man of God. Got to be a man of God. Now, their faith is built on fate. It's an oxymoron. So what I'm saying is their faith in this God is built on fate, something they seen. Everybody follow. Hopefully, everybody follow what I'm saying.
Right. So basically, it's like when you taught the spiritual gifts, when you had that lesson going on, and you were speaking about uh uh believing in a false reality, but it's based on what you see is what you believe. So now it becomes conditional.
Yep, exactly. It's 100% conditional. I see it, I believe it. That's the issue. That's the issue with us, and it represents, everything that's false, but it's a pattern of demanding visible evidence before you can have spiritual submission. So that's why a lot of times, even when I do things, and the same thing even with me, I don't think myself above anybody else or anything, but any better than anybody else on anything. However, the same thing is, I do know the power of prayer. I know that. I know a lot of different things, but the same thing is, I put caveats a lot of times in prayers. I do that quite a bit. The thing is, it's not that I don't believe. I'm gonna put that belief on the person that is going to, because there's no reason to sit there to say, okay, they believe and they're healed. No, because then what they're going to do, they're going to idolize the person that prayed. You can't afford that. So it's based on their faith. I'm going to make it based on their faith.
Now you're putting it right back on that person that asked you to.
Exactly.
It's right on you now.
Exactly. Gotcha. Yeah, it goes back to you. And that's the only way to work it. Because what they'll do, they'll idolize something they shouldn't be idolizing. So I always put it back on you, because the same thing is, I believe she's back here. Sister Renee, where she was sitting there, she was hoarse for 5 or 6 months, and she couldn't hardly talk. She couldn't do this. She couldn't do that. We talked to her for a minute.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah. Then we sit there. We did a prayer immediately right after, boom, she started talking. Okay. The same thing is, the problem is people will sit there and they'll idolize the person that did it, when the person that did it has nothing to do with it.
Nope.
It was the word.
That was based on her faith.
Exactly. And it was based on her faith. So this is the issue, that a lot of people see things the wrong. We even have another one, Sister Brown, where her daughter was unfortunately had got hit by a stray bullet, and they said she would never walk. That wasn't. We told her, no, that's a lie. And she's walking today, and they said she'll walk, I think, with a limp, or she was gonna walk some kind of way. And no, that's not true. She walked just as normal as anybody else. The thing is, it's still based on belief. It's based on what you have, and it's going to be based on that. But then with her, it was to show proof that God is real, where now she can believe. But then when you do things like that and people see things like that and then they're taken for granted, then what God can do, He don't take away the gift that was given to you, the gift to walk, the gift to see, the gift to do whatever. He don't take that away from you. But what He do, He can remove His covering. So if that happens again, then no matter what happens, He can stay on the side He wants. Because now you do it in vanity, because you're only doing it to receive the healing of that gift, and that's where He stands back at.
Got you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so
Understood. Let's get it. Let's get it. Question 5, right? So we have Thomas, right? Thomas and the
mhm,
escalation of carnal demands. He was putting them out there. So
mhm,
so we want you to trace the spiritual progression from Philip's request, right? It started from Philip saying, "Show us the Father," right? To
mhm,
Thomas' demand, "Except I shall see," blah blah blah, and he said, "I will not believe," right?
mhm.
What does this escalation reveal about the nature of faith, and
Well,
why does demanding proof lead to increasing spiritual blindness rather than increasing faith?
yeah, because when we're dealing with Thomas, it's dealing with the spiritual progression where you can even see with Philip's request. We'll look at some scripture in a minute,
Hmm.
and you'll see Thomas' demands reveals how faith operates through escalation of carnal demands that increase
Mm,
rather than decrease with evidence. So this progression it started demonstrating in Thomas that providing proof to those operated in faith does not produce faith, but
mhm,
rather intensifies the addiction of proof. So
mm,
this is why Philip says,
mm.
"Lord, show us the Father; it'll suffice us."
It'll
And we'll,
suffice.
yeah, we're gonna start putting them up. I don't know why this mouse keep going over there. Um, John 14:8. So you see there where he's talking about, show us the Father, it'll suffice us. So
Mhm,
so you can see this where Christ in his ministry is witnessed countless miracles. However, Philip witnessed them also. But then he's still requesting visual demonstrations of the Father. Show us him, it'll suffice us. So now most people think that that's not error. He just needed proof, something. No, they're showing you also committing blasphemy with him. That's why he even said in there, "Have I been so long time with you and you have not known me?" So
mm,
that's why he's literally saying that with him, because he's literally committing blasphemy is what he was doing. So now when we see in this progression, and you start seeing where you'll see later on where his when say like in 9 it says, "Have you been so long time with you? You have not known me, Philip. You have seen me. You have seen the Father." So this possessed no spiritual vision, despite this physical proximity to the divine revelation that he should have seen this. So the escalation was Thomas' problem because
okay.
Thomas was, but people, you'll see people teach on Thomas and that like that was a beautiful thing, or Thomas, oh my Lord, my God. No, 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 no. He escalated fate. And you'll see that in John 20:25. And you'll see it here. John 20, verse 25. You'll see it. It says, other disciples. See, and this is the key I want everybody to hone in on. It says, the other disciples. He's keying in on this. The other disciples, therefore, for that reason, said unto him, we have seen the Lord. They telling him who they seen. And so you got to sit there. He now, mind you, they telling him one thing, and they telling you what they witnessed. But he said unto them, no, no, it don't run this way. This not, I'm not having this kind of party. This is not the party I'm having, except I,
Mm,
you see, not y'all, I shall see in his hands the print of nails and put my finger into the print of the nails and thrust my hand into his side. Look at that. I would not believe.
I will not believe. Did he put himself in a place of eminence in his statement?
That's blasphemy.
Boom.
That's blasphemy, bro.
Crazy. Crazy.
Why? Because the Lord came back and repeated what he said. Meaning he heard it. Same as they sit there. Actually, I'm gonna show you the contrast to it. I'm gonna show you so you can see it directly. Okay. You see here, it says, yeah, exactly the point. You see what I'm doing. So it says, Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman, and they said, have the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Had he not spoken by us? Has he not also spoken by us? Who heard it?
The Lord, the Spirit.
Why do you think he only? And then with this one, he heard it, so he repeated that to him. Hey, put your hand here. Put your finger there. He repeating this. He repeating this stuff to him.
Exact words, yes.
Yeah, he's giving him the exact words. Hey, put your hand on my side. Yeah, he's repeating this, and then even tell him later, do I have flesh? Do I do the spirit have flesh and blood as you see me have? Letting you know this is a man, because that man that he was doing that he could do it, he had flesh and blood. It's letting you know God don't reside in one vessel.
Mm-hmm.
So as we see this, escalation beyond Philip's visual, beyond his visual, requesting to demand a complete, sensory investigation on this particular topic. The first level, as I said, I should see in his hands a visual verification of this wound, which this parallels Israel again, who, despite seeing plagues, how we seen plagues in Egypt, seen all these things, but yet, guess what we do? We demand proof. How do I know? Because this is why I ran y'all to Psalm 78:11. This is why I ran there. And we good for doing this. It says, and forgot his works. Why? Because that's what we did. In his wonders that he has showed them. He showed us this stuff. All this stuff we seen, but guess what? We forgot them. Have you ever heard the women that song Janet Jackson uses? What have you done for me? What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
That's this. Keep proving. So I got to put my finger here. I got to do this, and it kept escalating, and it now is requiring physical touch, and this is perverting the testimony. This perverts the testimony, and this is why I was saying that earlier. And this is 1 John 1:1. This is why this gets perverted. And it says, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life. This is the prerequisite. It's telling us right up front what we done, but what we would like to do. We like to sit there and tell the best lie in the world. We'll sit there and say these things, but then when it gets to that third level, he has to put his dang hand inside this ultimate invasion on, we're putting your hand inside the secrets of Christ. This presents fate, most violent expression. And this is why I say, you have so many, I even hate to say it, but it's all true. You have a lot of people sitting there saying, my mama, my daddy, my husband, my wife, they in these churches, but one day gonna come out. Guess what? I even hate to say it, but I say it a lot, and people just don't know I be saying it. Once truth passed through you and you deny it, you hold on to what you hold on to, he's good. It's done. It's a wrap. Why?
That's why I said kick that dust off.
That's why he said, exactly. That's why he says kick the dust off. Exactly why he says that. He's good. He came through. They choose not, because that's rebellion establishing the will against faith. that mirror
Okay.
world. Go ahead.
So let's go to the modern Christianity's Thomas principle. All right.
Let's do it.
While we on it. All right. How does modern Christianity manifest the Thomas principle through its use of religious imagery, movies,
Boy,
like you said, cinema,
boy, boy,
statues,
boy.
relics?
Okay.
why,
Okay. Okay.
why does the lesson that why do you identify this as operating in faith rather than faith? And what scriptural warnings address this practice?
You see right there? We're going to look at Second Thessalonians chapter 2, looking at verse 3. You can't even get around it. It says, let no man deceive you by what? By any means.
Mm,
So any means also mean not by visuals. This is why he says this in the law. Exodus 20 and 2. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's why he says this. By any means. He's holding you to this. He's making sure you focus in on this and you don't let them do this by any means. Pictures or anything. It says, for that day should not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. That's why he's telling you this. Because if you do any of these, you literally marking yourself for death. So you see,
it's
this why
no outside influence. No outside influence whatsoever.
exactly. Is no influences nowhere. Because the same thing is, you'll see where even men, they'll put on their such and such ministries or such and such ministry. They put their name there.
Yeah.
So that ministry is their ministry. So now you're going to believe what it's saying, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God. That's why that is there. And why? Because he's going to put himself as God. And he even says this in Isaiah chapter 14 in verse 13. It says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. So he's going to go there. And I will sit and I will exalt my throne above the stars. These above the servants of God. He gonna go above them. And then he says, I will also and I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation. So he's going to sit there on the sides of the north. I will ascend into the height of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. This is the danger that everybody be doing. So what they do, they'll see these images. This is the same thing like, well, everybody know what I'm talking about, but that's why I reprimanded a guy who sat there and he put out a teacher said, oh, we're shepherds. Dude, we ain't no dang shepherds. Had to make him take that crap down. Then showed him what the truth was. But people is quick to elevate themselves to these other positions. So then what they'll do is, that's why you see an image. So how everybody got fooled on the image of Jesus, the white guy. Why? They're showing you the image. Everywhere you look, you see it.
Right.
So now, anytime you see a white person that kind of looked like him with long hippie hair, guess what? You attributed him to God. You said, dang, that's how God, that's God. That's how God look. They got to keep concreting that in Christian movies. Why do you think so many Christian movies is out there? So they can keep concreting that, keep concreting. They want to keep that in your mind, keep that in your mind. So every time you see something that goes on, it's concreting that in your head. That's why it's there. It's got to hold you to that. They got to make sure that no matter what you do, you're going to focus on this got to be the truth. This got to be God. Because I'm going to tell you why, I see it. How you going to say it's not true and I see it?
So basically a worldview indoctrination.
Yeah, and it's constant. I tell you right now, I hate to even say it, you got a lot of people back here still believe in Christianity. Don't think they don't. A lot of them. Why? Because no matter what, it takes a lot to remove that, and this is why a lot of stuff is closed off to them, where they can't hear it, because they still don't fully trust in what they can't see. Reason why? they see people still go to a building. They sit there and say, I don't know why I can't go. I don't know why I can't go there. But guess what? It tells you this in Hebrews 9:24. It tells you this. And when you look at it, they don't want to hold to it. Christ is not entered the holy places made with hands, which are figures of the truth. It's showing you this, but they sitting there saying, but it can't be all these people. You think God gonna get rid of all those people? Yeah. He do it all the time. He do it consistently. Why? Because he says certain things and he has a certain language that he uses that he talks about. He tells you right here, you only have I known. You. This not saying you, y'all. You. It's not saying you only have I known all the families of the earth. You only have I known. So he make all these singular statements, but people still got to make them bigger in general, and you can't do that.
Nice.
So when we sit there and we believe that we believe God's sitting there, he came for the whole world, and they just, some books they done took this out. I don't know if you know that, but they done took this out. He said, "I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Somebody,
I believe we did a study where you showed several different books and how
yeah,
some of the passages were taken out compared to the Sovereign
yeah,
King James Bible. Yep.
yeah, they taking
Sir.
that because he's telling you right there, he only sent to one. People have an issue with that. People have a big issue with that because that makes it single. That singleizes something, and they can't handle that.
All
So
right. So
go ahead.
okay, go. I'm sorry. No, go on. Finish your
No, go
statement.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say while we're on that, let's go to the flip side of that coin, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
blessedness without sight. Okay.
You said what?
Christ blessedness without sight.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my question is going to be based on. See, Christ declared, "Blessed are they that have not seen and
Mm-hmm.
yet have believed," which
Mm-hmm.
is John 20 and 29. He was speaking to
Mm-hmm.
Thomas. That was a
Mm-hmm.
smackdown,
Mm-hmm.
right? according to the spiritual dictionary definition, blessed, what specific spiritual capacities and revelations do those who believe without seeing receive that those requiring sight never obtain?
Yeah. So same thing is, let's look at this.
Mhm.
It says in Genesis 3:7, it says, "And the eye was open both of them, and they knew they was naked." So fig leaf made. Do they say they seen something in verse 8? Do it say anywhere? It said they heard the voice of the Lord.
They heard the voice.
So this again is people demanding proof, but you always see it's a voice you listen for.
Gotcha.
So when people sit there and they want physical verification, he never sit there saying he gonna give you physical verification. His voice will be embedded in people. That's why he'll give you prophets, because you see where they'll speak it to you. So that's part of the problem. So when they sit there and say, "Blessed are they, wisdom is given are they," that's why that always going to continually go through, because blessed is the one who can believe based on what they see, and then they can sit there and see. Actually, same thing here. You'll see the most easiest part right here. Paul explains it beautifully. And we'll look at this in Romans chapter 10,
Mhm.
and starting at 14. It says, how shall they call on him who they have not believed? And how shall they believe on him whom they have not heard? It says they don't say nothing about seeing, who they have not heard. And then it said, how shall they hear without a preacher? So the thing is not based on what you see, it's based on what you hear. Because the same thing as I said, what you want to see is what his manifestations are, which it tells you here in Romans 1:20. Because everything
Mhm.
goes back. For the invisible things of him, why? Because you only can hear them. From the creation of the world, clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. So all those things are made is still going to take you all the way back to Genesis Start at 1:7, and you can keep on going on. God made the firmament and divided the waters from the waters. So you can see he constantly making things. So we can look at these things to the visible elements that he made to where we can believe in what God did. But we can't separate those. We look for a visible representation. Now we end up becoming lost because this world cannot contain God. It don't happen. So these are the issues. And this is why, again, it's something to where people have to sit back, meditate on it, really understand what God is saying all the time. So,
and it keeps going back to that faith by works. Keeps going right back to it. I'll show you my faith by works. That's that manifestation of what you have in that reserve.
Yeah, is what you have there is most important. And seeing a lot of us, I tell people, my biggest thing is when, Dr. Shaw had me do a study, and I wanted to know about Jesus. And he had me do a study. I had skills enough to do it, and I seen it. And I seen that this man was a man. Oh man, I took like 2 weeks off of school, man. I
messed you up. I was like, wait a minute.
Man, I'm sitting there like, because I kept running to this dang prophet. And I'm not running to a guy, but I was running to a prophet, man. That jacked me up. That jacked me up. So I was trying to get it in my head because now I'm questioning everything I believe. Because I'm sitting there saying this Jesus is not God, I was messed up. But then I understood it. Because, for the very breath I breathe is God. So I understand all this is about God. But a lot of people sit there and they need to see something. That's why you see people do tattoos, that do all this stuff, thinking they're doing something. They're not doing anything.
Right. Okay. So let's go to the question number 8 then. The spiritual order of sight and faith. Spiritual order of sight and faith, right? So the lesson teaches that sight follows faith. I mean faith. I'm sorry. Sight, it follows faith, not faith following sight. Right? There's an order to it. So explain this spiritual law using scriptural examples and demonstrate how violating this order leads to spiritual dysfunction. Right? Question: what is the proper relationship between faith, understanding, and manifestation?
Yeah, can you repeat some of the first part? Because I got, you kind of threw me.
All right, I'll hit you with the second part in a second. I'll hit you with this first part now. So in terms of faith, sight following faith, not faith following sight, explain the spiritual law. The spiritual law using scriptural examples, okay, and demonstrate how violating this order leads to spiritual dysfunction.
Okay, so the spiritual law of sight, what we got to really get. So to follow faith and not faith, but following sight. So we got to establish like the divine order, the order, and how the spiritual reality manifests into natural realities.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this real quick. Need to run one other place. Let me run one other place. Trying to think. And trying to think how they got that running. And let me see. And I know it's this one. Yeah. So we got to look at the order. So through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. So it's kind of an oxymoron on how it's saying that. So we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. So we got to keep that in mind. So the things which are seen, the things that are seen, were not made of things which do appear.
So basically saying we didn't create the trees and we didn't create the water. We didn't make the grass.
Yeah. So this verse, Yeah, so this verse reveals, okay, they say, well, how did that tree get made? We didn't make the tree. So we got to operate. So it's working. It's built on an unseen realm, which is understanding, and it developed. Then it becomes visible. It's the same thing as you can take a mustard seed and look at a mustard seed and try to see, it can develop into this big old tree. But they want to sit there and say, okay, how did that mustard seed? How was it created? It was in the seed. But this is looking at the word of God, which is the spiritual reality, which results in the things which are seen physically, and it's in the physical reality being made from the things which we do not appear spiritually. So when we look at the spiritual substance, this changes everything where it establishes that even when we're dealing with visible reality originate from invisible spiritual realities, and it's not in reverse. So that's what it kind of
So while you're saying that, how does violating that order lead to spiritual dysfunction?
Well, that's in a lot of ways because
you right on that corner.
Huh?
I said you was right on that corner.
Yeah. So one, we got to look at the first stage of really faith spiritually, substance as a deposit through belief. So that's one we got to catch on. So what we got to do, we got to look at like JEHOVAH word. This operates invisible. That's key one. It operates invisible and is creating a spiritual reality before any natural evidence ever exists. So the thing is, what we're going to look at in 1 second, we're going to look at some scripture based on Abraham. And then we see Abraham was promised descendants before Isaac was even born, before Sarah's womb was even open, even before any natural possibility existed. So his faith created spiritual reality first. You follow me?
Yes.
Oh yeah. But it's a trip on how it works. But then we got to understand, as faith operates, spiritual understandings start developing. So this is not like an intellectual comprehension, but this is more on a spiritual perception. So this is why we got to see things with spiritual eyes. So natural eyes, they can't really understand this. So when they try to see things with natural eyes, it screws them up. And this is why that happens. So same thing, getting to that, we want to see something right here in Romans 4:19. And we want to sit there, we're going to sit there and look at that. So it's telling you, it's saying, not being not weak in faith, we consider not his own body now dead. When he was about 100 years old, getting on Abraham, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb, because she was old as dirt herself. And it says, he staggered not at the promise of God. So he didn't waver about it. He believed God, even though he was old. Sarah's old, everything's old. He didn't stagger at this promise of God through unbelief. He didn't do this, but he was strong in faith, giving glory to God. So this showing you how Abraham was, and this is how we're supposed to be. So even though Sarah was going to be the carrier of this, and he's telling Abraham that she's going to have this, he had 100% faith God was going to do this. It wasn't through unbelief. He did that through belief, because he believed the promise of God was going to come through, and that was 100% faith. So when we look at Abraham, and that's why even Yahweh, Jesus even said, if you be Abraham's seed, they would love him. But then they didn't, because what you do when you're looking at natural assessment, dead bodies, dead wombs, to perceive spiritual reality, that's crazy. So we got to look at JEHOVAH's promise, because his manifestation is different. So after faith operates and we understanding, the understanding really develops visible manifestations, now it appears where Isaac was born, fulfilling the promise. Then, but you'll notice the sequence: faith first, believing the promise, then you're understanding second, receiving a spiritual reality despite natural impossibilities. So then you got to understand the third of the physical birth, which you see that with Isaac. So then if you violate this order, this is the catch. If you violate this order, now it leads to spiritual dysfunction. That's automatic. It's going to automatically happen. So dysfunction, when you're looking at dysfunction one, is this. You demanding sight before faith. So before you have faith, you demanding no different than Thomas demanded to see before believing. So that's that reverse spiritual order. So this also now this creates the spiritual paralysis on what you're doing, because the natural sight proves no foundation of anything. For spiritual faith, those who require sight before is faith remains really perpetually unable to even access spiritual reality, because they really demand that third stage on what they believe is manifestation before engaging in the first stage of faith. Technically, they just broke. Because they trusting it. They trusting in understanding before faith. So they're some going to demand this intellectual, what you were saying, comprehension, because they're gonna say, well, okay, I can believe, but won't tell you what, but show it to me. Okay, prove it to me first.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna screw them up. So that's the best time to actually cut them off a lot of times. Actually, I'm gonna show you something here in Proverbs 3:5.
Okay.
So it's in, tell you right here, trust in the Lord with all thy heart. That's why I was running that earlier. And lean not into their own understanding. Because if he said he's going to do something, God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. But people, they feel they're so intellectually smart. Okay, if you still want me to believe, you need to show it to me. You can't show it to me, I don't need to believe it, because you can't show it to me. They feel they're intellectually smart, but that's a dysfunction seeking manifestation without faith. So this is why many of people still pray for visible results while possessing no faith. Sitting there telling, oh, I pray, I need my house no paid. Lord, please take care of this. Lord, please take care of this. I'm telling you,
you're still asking to see it before you believe it.
Bingo. Cause say like you hit the lotto. See like you hit the lotto, and then you're able to pay your house note. Guess what? Guess how many people gonna believe they can always just pray to God and it'll get it to happen. Same thing. Who was that? Was that one of the deacons? I forgot what one lesson I was watching. They had old Steve Harvey. Was that one of the brothers?
Oh yeah, brother Ned that they struck.
Yeah. Showing Steve Harvey. He praying for other stuff, people's stuff. I'm telling you, it becomes comical. So he believed, he truly believed he can pray for other people's stuff and God to give it to him. So it's telling you, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. Without faith, it's impossible. So the thing is, it becomes this oxymoron where people try to hold on to something that's really not there. And it just becomes really more silly than anything else, because now they feel they can pray for whatever they want and he's going to manifest it to them. So we have even spiritual examples of when we're looking at like the proper order when we want to do things. We can see even with Noah. Faith, he was warned of God and not seen as of yet, nor with fear. But what did he do? He repaired the ark.
Yes, he did.
Saving the house. Actually, you'll see that there because we can actually get to it, because he actually talks about it right here. Yeah, right here. I forgot we were. It says by faith, Noah, being warned of God, has things of God not seen as yet, moved with fear, with desire, prepared an ark, saving of his house, in which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. It's by faith, not by fate. By faith, Abraham was called was called, called to go into a place which after he received an inheritance. So you can see it's constant. It's a constant thing that's going to keep happening. But the same thing is people, they try to take faith, and if you ever hear them, they'll say, well, this, but, see, but when people do that, well, but really, I just cut the conversation, or I really just shut my whole ears to it, because it becomes a waste, because they only put a but. Why? They want to inject their opinion, and their opinion is supposed to be so intellectual, it's above God. When I showed you scripture on what scripture said. So I'm showing you what scripture said. They say, yeah, but I'm really, as soon as they do that, I'm really out of the conversation. I'm really done with the conversation at that point. So, so technically that's what's going on there.
Okay, so you pretty much even chopped it up about the proper relationship between faith, understanding, and manifestation. So you covered it all. Appreciate that,
Okay.
Elder.
Yeah, no problem.
I got another one for you. Throwing it out there to you. Fate, Fate, and modern relationships. How does the lesson you presented, how does it apply the faith versus fate principle to modern relationships, right? Particularly regarding material demands and recognition of the sky's royalty. All right. Um, what spiritual principles govern the ability to perceive eternal worth versus temporal appearance?
Did they put that on there? You put that on. I should looked at the whole thing. Oh, yeah. But looking at marital demands and the inability to really recognize the sky's royalty, even revealing a spiritual economy, we can look at some things. How when we looking at applications, because applications that demonstrate the faith battle, and it's a battleground which extends beyond religious, in the area of life where we can look at it, including
Right, it does get a little.
yeah. I want to say, man, yeah, relationships and marriage. So when we're looking at faith based, all right, we're gonna look at faith based relationship. So we're gonna look at the modern woman. All right, so operating on pure faith. So then becoming a living parable of this carnality about establishing material requirements before considering, even before considering. So they got to consider, somebody got to have a 6-figure income, like what I was saying. They got to have this kind of vehicle. They got to have this. It's all about, they got to have this portfolio with them. Physical, can't no woman back here say that, because most parents even tell them to do this. Meanwhile, what they offering? They trying to offer physical beauty. You get me. Physical beauty. And that comes and that comes a dime a dozen. See, that's what people keep missing. That's why I even say it come a dime a dozen. So that's one of the things. So this operation of faith, because it demands visible proof of value. So they sitting there showing you, look what you get. But then what if she's not built the way you want it? Now what she's going to do? You see what I'm saying? So if she's sitting there, her butt ain't quite like you want. It might be too big. She need to shave some of it off. What if her breast is too big? You need some of that off. What if her waist is too wide? She need to bring some of that in. Now what? But now this guy, he has the money, he has the job, he has the fame. And he's talking to her. But she's saying, you get me. But he's saying, okay, I have what you want, but what you have, it need to make some changes. So it's the same thing as the thief. If thou be the Christ, save yourself and save us also. It goes under this conditional disengagement. So that requires demonstration before commitment. So before this commitment, okay, you need to have this in place. So these women acting as these spiritual pamperers, where demanding gold from those with authentic riches, and but never perceiving, this disguised royalty that present like what you see in these humble circumstances of these guys. Because you can see these guys who's really humble, but then what it does is exposes a lot of stuff. Actually, you see this in Proverbs, 31:30. I'm gonna show you something right there. Where is that? Proverbs 31:30. It says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. Why? Because it's gonna fade.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, but the woman that feareth the Lord should be praised. So it's telling you, same thing I used the sister that she's on there, and she'll tell you what these women have all these demands on people. But then as they get older, now your demands get less. And then when they get in their late 40s, the demands get less. When they get in 50s, they just want a guy with a heartbeat. All these things happen. Why? Because you got the other women coming up. You got to remember, a man, he can be 70, 80 years old. He can still go get a 20-year-old woman. If he got money, he can go get whatever he wants. He has a choice. It's just like going to the Toyota dealership or a Cadillac dealership. He can go to whichever one he wants. He can go to a Hyundai dealership.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to get. And I promise you, I tell you, look at Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner, I don't even know if the man's still living. I mean, when the man was 300 years old, he had a 21-year-old wife. 21.
Yeah.
So we're looking at technically spiritual bankruptcy, because everything is beauty-based value.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said right there, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. This is why it stands there, because this is what they're based it on. They're based it on this. And the biggest thing is, I even hate to say, even because of our women, we'll walk around and what do? They show you all the goods right there. Why? Because it's faith-based relationship trades, eternal substance for this character of integrity. So you see these girls walk around. I'm talking about they have their pants on so tight and they panties on so tight. You can pretty much count the pupils on their front end.
Mm-hmm.
When they walking by. What sense do that make? And then they get mad if you tell them they need to be a little bit more modest. They look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
So you had that problem, and then they marking up their bodies like it's crazy. So we had this issue that's going on. But then that's all still temporal vanity. Because beauty, wealth, status, all that's temporal. Nothing is there. But when you're dealing with faith-based relationship economies, that's a whole different economy. Because then you had a woman who receives the man in his low estate. See, you loving him when he possessed nothing materially. She can care less. So materially impressive, demonstrated on this faith operation. So you see this as JEHOVAH sees perceiving eternal wealth. And then he'll see you also with your work. So rather than temporal appearance, he's recognized this disguise of this royalty and this humble circumstances. So just because you see somebody and they don't look like this big time money making machine, but he's more humble about it, you don't know what's going to come of it. So this parallels what's going on when we're looking at believing on the thief. Same thing goes right back to the thief. Recognize Christ and his kingship while being hung on the cross. Both still going to require the spiritual sight that transcends nature. So these circumstances of both, we got to look at it and we got to understand them, which being demonstrated when we see this in forefront, because you still got to look at the hundredfold faith by perceiving invisible reality future kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
hidden royalty, despite parent appearance. So we got this crucifixion, you got poverty, all this we got to look at. So then when we look at this, when I was speaking on this, that where the woman where she entered into the paradise of recognition, while others remain in torment, they're never truly seeing the souls before them, that only in their costumes as a temporal play. So this really just describes eternal consequences of operating in a faith versus fate relationships. And this is what a lot of people is in right now. A lot of people is in fate relationships where they believe they enter into paradise because they thinking that, he has this, he has that, or he say she has this, she has that. And that's the wrong kind of relationship to be in, because it's based on a dissatisfaction, never perceiving what the true worth is, which you're looking on this at the heart, which is the way it should be. And that's the problem with the people today.
Value in that envelope, huh?
Man, tell
Gotcha.
me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. And they value that bad boy hard.
Put it up. Put it up. Put it up.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, see,
All
one of the worst ones is even when I was younger, I went to a car wash and I
right.
had to wash one of my vehicles. So I go to the car wash in one of my trucks and washing it, and seeing the lady there, I spoke to her. She wouldn't give me the time of day. I spoke to her, hey, how you doing? She turned her nose up and kept doing what she's doing. So I went back and got my other car. Came back, and then all of a sudden, she, ooh, hey, how you doing? She was still there. Hey, how you doing? I didn't think that. Oh, now she thinking I'm being rude because I'm not saying nothing. Oh, why you can't say? Then I look, I said, you don't remember me? I was just here. I literally was just here. But what she's saying, she looked different. She looked different. Oh, won't they? Oh, look at what he got. Look at what he got. That's why you see these guys even today where they make these little reality videos where they call them gold diggers. They got
Oh, and they try to talk to the girl, and then they shoo them off, and then they just walk right up to this
yep,
flashy car, and they're like, "Hey,
yeah,
hey, come here, huh?
yeah, oh
I was
yeah,
trying to."
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. They walk up, they sit there, hey, how you doing? This and that. The girl put them off, and then okay, and then they see him go get in this expensive car. They, hey,
Running right out their heels, trying to catch
yeah,
up to them.
that's why that
Okay.
happens.
Yes, sir. All right, got you. All right, so we're gonna approach the final question, and it's dealing
Mm-hmm.
with the divine sovereignty and human choice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the lesson presents a seeming paradox. All right. Um, man must choose, yet cannot choose rightly apart from divine intervention. Right. Man must trust, yet can only trust through spiritual currency of faith that Jehovah Himself supplies. Okay. Um, how do human choice and divine sovereignty operate as complementary realities rather than complete completing the jurisdictions and competing jurisdictions in Jehovah's eternal economy? I'll ask again.
Mm-hmm.
How do human choice and divine sovereignty operate as complementary realities rather than competing jurisdictions in Jehovah's eternal economy?
Yeah. Well, one man must choose, yet um, you cannot choose rightly apart from divine intervention. So man
Mm,
must one trust, and yet really he can only trust through spiritual currency, which is faith that Jehovah Himself. So He's going to supply that. So this seemingly contradiction, which I think that's what they're trying to pose there,
yes, sir.
it resolves of when understanding that human choices and divine sovereignty operates as complementary realities rather than competing jurisdictions in Jehovah's eternal in His eternal economy. So we got to
Yes,
look at something, and we got to look at this as a complementary nature of choices. So when we look at
Okay.
this and the sovereignty of this, we can understand it a lot better when we get into what he's doing. Because one, we got to look at the human responsibility, and the human responsibility going to always be shown. Because I'm going to take you right back to the law, and we're going to see this in Deuteronomy 30:19, which I know I ran earlier, and we're going to see this here, and we'll see this here. He says, "I call heaven and earth to record this day, but it's against you." That's why I was really emphasizing on that, against you, because this establishes that man must choose. It's not that he should choose; he must choose. I mean, he has to. He has to make one of those choices. But a lot of us, we like to kind of waver against that, but it's against you. So you got one, blessings, and you got one that's cursing. So we got to understand what that's about, what we got to make sure we choose, because you have to choose one. He's not going to let you straddle a fence. So
Can I ask you a question?
yeah,
Is that choice that we must make because of because of the uh the race of Adam, where we fall now
yeah,
because of that,
exactly.
because we're going right into that.
You
So
talk,
now we got to make
you talking about because sin was imputed to all of us?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, exactly the point.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a
okay.
good look. That's a good look.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's a really good look. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it was already imputed to us. So if it's already imputed to us, that's why he says, heaven and earth to record this day against you. And I set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. And so he says, therefore, for that reason, choose life. So he's not recommending you choose life. He's telling you, choose this one. Because if you choose the other one, you're screwed. So that decision making capacity is what it rides on. So now we bear the responsibility now for the choices we make. Jehovah, got to remember, Jehovah does not, and I need everybody to understand, does not choose for you at all. Y'all can get that up under your head, get it through your noggin. He do not choose for you. That option is set for you. It's set before you. But he commands you which one you should take. He's telling you right up front. He's not leaving you without unknowing. He's leaving you knowing. He says, therefore, choose life. So we have to have that human capacity, know exactly what we're doing. But if we had that incapacity in it, actually, I'm gonna tell you what, let's do something. And we're gonna go to Jeremiah 10:23, show you something. Because I believe I ran this. I'm not sure if I did or not.
Hmm.
Okay, for it's in, oh Lord, I know that the way of man is not what?
And himself.
Not in himself. Think about what he's saying. Is not in himself. Meaning can't lean to your own understanding.
Hmm.
What you do, you crucify your body, you go bury it in that dang water, you get rid of it, and guess what? And you have Jehovah live for you. Because why? Oh Lord, the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. Why? Because it's telling. Actually, I'm gonna show you something. What Peter said. Peter 2:21. He's telling you right here. He's telling. He said, "We into year call because Christ also suffered what, leaving us an example that what we should follow in his steps. Why? We got to follow that. That's what we follow. But if we don't, guess what? It's already set for us.
Yeah.
It's set for us because, same as I said, many of us, no matter what, we're going to choose that. No matter what. And what we thinking we can do, we can philosophize our way out of it.
Mm.
This is a big thing with us. So when we do, we have to confess, one, that we spiritually bankrupt. We have to confess that. That we don't know. We have to acknowledge our sins. We have to let them know, hey, I'm spiritually bankrupt. But a lot of us not going to sit there. We're going to sit there and say we got a little bit. You got a lot of people come over here. They still come over here with Christian baggage and still hold on to their baggage. All behind their mom, their dad, whoever was in there. Well, they showed me a little bit, and I'm good with it. But the same thing, like I showed you in Proverbs 3 and 5, I showed that. And the main thing is, it don't say mom or dad. Proverbs 3 and 5 tell you trust in the Lord.
That's
It don't
right.
say trust in your mom. It don't say trust in your dad. Trust in the Lord.
And look at verse 6.
Huh? Yeah. In all thy ways is knowledge who? Him. And he
Yep.
shall direct thy path. He's telling you exactly what's going on. But the problem is, we sit there, well, my mama told me this and she told me this and I made sure I did this. She didn't do anything. Your daddy didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. You didn't do it because you know you get your butt tore up. But maybe, well, they did this. Okay, then if they want to hold on to what their mama and their daddy taught them in the church and that pastor taught them in the church, then you hold on to it. But when you stand before him, you gonna sit there, you challenging God over with man's knowledge, and he's coming from the knowledge of good and evil,
Mm.
which you're gonna lose every time because that's where it's coming from. So those things we can't win. But the main thing is, this is why it's easier for him to separate that because those are easier things to separate because he already knows you're coming from the knowledge of good and evil. So since he already knows that and you're holding on to a knowledge over there and you bring that knowledge saying, well, they told me, that I should be this way and I should not do this. Cool. Then you go to hell with them. Do you know how many versions gonna be in hell? I'm talking tons of them gonna be there. Tons of people gonna be in hell. Tons of virgins gonna be there. And people sitting there just because they sitting there, well, I stayed a virgin. Okay, ton of them still gonna be there. Why? Because they're holding on to false realities.
Right.
It's a trip. You look at that Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8 and 9. What he tells you, he said, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your way. So I can care less what your mom and your daddy told you or your grandparents told you. He's still telling you, for my ways are not your ways. For the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. So he's telling you right up front. But then when you want to match human or man's knowledge with his, you screw yourself.
Yeah.
It's automatic, bro. It's automatic, bro. It is what it is.
Well, let me tell you, Elder, I appreciate your
Yeah.
time.
Hey, no problem, my brother. No problem. No problem, my brother.
That actually concludes the question session that I had for you, my brother.
Yeah. I gotta put my glasses on now. I gotta put my glasses on, bro.
All right.
Cause I can't. Cause I'm gonna tell you, it's
Got me
certain
some
things,
good notes.
huh?
I got me some good notes. Thank you.
Okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. And did we have any other questions other than that, Sister Eva? Yeah.
Shalom. That was good. That was good. Thank you. And I do recognize what you
Yeah.
said. Yeah. Earlier. But I do have a question. When you brought up the two thieves and you did the one that was demanding proof before faith, and I was waiting for the other thief on the other side. The
You said
information.
you'd be with him in paradise. So I don't know what part you missed there.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm just saying you'd be with him in paradise because he was. Where you go?
I'm here.
Yeah, wait a minute. What thing? Oh, there we go. Yeah. So because I already had said that earlier. Once you sit there and he said, hey, Lord, remember me when you get in your kingdom. He said, yeah, this day you'll be with me in paradise. That's all he was saying.
Because he had the faith.
Yeah, he had faith, and he didn't need something. He didn't need to see proof.
Okay. Thank you.
You follow me?
I
Okay.
got it.
Okay. And Sister Martin.
Shalom, Elder. How are you?
No, good, and you?
Good. So I realize I have been operating in faith, right? So my question for you is, now that I know that, how do I establish faith?
Yeah, and that's a good question, but it's something that you have to sit there and start doing. You have to take them one point at a time. because when you're operating in faith, it's based on what you see,
Right.
and you have to start releasing some of that. So you have to start taking it one step at a time.
Okay, so how would I approach that?
Yeah, you have to let it go, and you have to have same thing as um you can have a faith and say one thing where you have to sit there and sit back and just trust. Once you release that to them, you have to release it and don't worry about it. You can't worry about it. But if you worry about it, you're still operating in faith.
Okay. So
So what? Yeah, I know but same thing is, and I tell you, and I do it all the time. Uh, I meet people, I'm gonna give you 100% trust.
that's what I was gonna
No,
say.
yeah, and I walk away. I don't think about it. I'm gonna let you mess it up. I don't trip.
Okay. And so me doing that is really helping me to establish the faith that I need, right?
Yeah, that'll help you establish that.
Okay. Okay. That I
Because if you,
need for the kingdom.
yeah, because you have to.
Okay.
Okay, so the same thing is if you operating in faith,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna go back to it. He already showed you what he said. You can't without faith you can't please God.
Oh no, it's very clear. Um, so because I don't like to be in error in no type of capacity, if it's something that I need to fix, I need to fix it.
Yeah, and the easiest way to fix that is to where you just. I'm not saying just bite it all off at one time because then you can end up failing trying to do it.
Okay.
I take one at a time, and I build it. I build it. I build it. I build it. Because I'm gonna tell you, that's a demon.
Okay.
That's a bold faced demon. Tell you a good way you can do it. You want me to tell you?
Of course.
Okay. See now, the same thing is I want you to blindfold yourself. Okay?
I thought about having my husband do me like that later on today
Uh-huh.
and see if I can maneuver around the house and
No, I
listen
ain't
to
saying
what
no,
he's saying.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
Okay,
that.
well,
I didn't say that. I want him to be listening because
he's
I wanted him to be one time remove himself
remove him.
and one time he's stand there. But I want you to put that around you and then and you gonna sit there and you gonna fall one time to where you can see where he can get you when you lean back and you just fall back. You blindfolded. You don't know if he's back there or not.
Okay.
And then I want you to stay blindfolded. And then he might remove himself. And you gonna sit there and you fall back.
Okay.
Think he trusting
Is he
you.
back here? I think the kids session and
Mm-hmm.
he's back here because I hear my echo. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll do that. And then my other question was about I think it was about works. Um, because I do understand the concept with faith without works is dead. And
Mm-hmm.
works is considered, does that reference back to 2 Timothy 2:5?
Yeah, because faith without works. So let me show you this again. I'm gonna show
Where
you
was
something.
the thing?
Let me show you something.
I don't know where my note is. Okay.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Let me show you something. Mhm. Okay. So can you see this here?
Yes.
Believe. Okay. Okay. Now this is like dollars.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So those are dollars. All right. Now this is the Federal Reserve. All right. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for these dollars to be guaranteed to use them, these are on these fake dollars only work in this kingdom. They don't work in this kingdom.
Right.
All right. But they still based on gold, as with the reserve in our world. So that's why they say we write a whole bunch of checks. We print money and we don't have gold to back it. You follow me?
Okay.
So here is our goal, and it's based on belief. You with
Mm-hmm.
me? Okay, so
Uh-huh.
if you got a whole lot of belief in your temple, then when you decide to spend your faith,
Mm-hmm.
you're backing it with the gold.
Okay.
But if you don't have this, you got a whole lot of this. You don't have nothing to back it with. So
So
now,
yeah.
so now you might have a whole lot of this and no gold. So the same thing is that's why I go to Christians, because they say once saved, always saved. And they don't need this. All they need is faith.
But they're not operating on faith. They're operating on faith.
Yeah, exactly. That I'm telling you, Satan, the baddest dude walking out there. He's a monster at what he does. I'm talking about, when I say a monster, I'm talking about, why you think he's called the ancient and honorable? He is nothing to play with. You follow me?
Right.
So if you don't have nothing to back it, and you need belief to back it,
Mm-hmm.
how can you? I tell you what. Um, do you get a lottery in Georgia?
Of course, Georgia has a lottery.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what. Can you go play it? Can you go play about $20 of them? Believe you're gonna win?
In times past, I have done that before.
I didn't ask you about time past. I'm asking about it right now.
I'm not doing it now
Why?
because that's not where my belief or my faith lies in that.
Okay. Why you don't think you'll win?
I don't, that's not an importance for me though.
I didn't ask you that. You don't have faith that you'll win?
No, I don't.
Why? Ain't it a few $1,000,000?
Yeah, but no.
Why not? Why you just know?
No, I don't think I win. Not at all.
They always saying the more you play, the better your chances.
I know they say that and they be lying. So
Mm. So what you were doing the first time, you were putting a lot of faith and you had no belief behind it.
that I
So
would
you
hit you in time past.
so you was giving them this.
Mm-hmm.
And you had nothing to back it.
Right.
So you was operating on faith, on what they told you. And then what they was proving to you, how many people they show you every week where you see the lotto winners, they holding up a check and they doing that. They used to interview them on TV.
Yeah, I think they even put like the little scratch out tickets on the little mirror. I mean the
Mm-hmm.
wall to show you this particular store has, um
Yeah,
people won this kind of
yeah.
money.
So guess what? So then the ones who hit the big lottos, you see those stores have lines out the door because that's where the ticket was bought.
It's the illusion.
That's faith. That's faith at its best. So since you think you're going to win, hey, we might hit it here again.
Mm-hmm.
So they go there. All illusion. And they have faith that they can hit it there. So they go there and spend $100, believing they're going to in faith there, but they don't have nothing to back it with.
Mm.
Nothing to back it. Satan at his best. You got to remember this here and this here, based on the American dollars or world dollars, it don't even work in his kingdom.
Right.
So you got it based on a false reality. But now what you do is, how do you trust people? Let's move a little bit closer.
I have to give them 100% faith.
No, I didn't ask you that. How do you trust people right now?
How do I trust people right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You willing to put your life in their hand and yours and theirs and theirs and yours?
Mm.
I didn't ask you. I asked you, are you willing to do it?
With some, yes.
Okay.
Being honest, with some, I would.
I didn't know. I didn't ask you that.
I know. I would say no.
Okay. Now the reason why is based on faith.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue. So, you know what that tells you?
What does it tells me?
That tells you, says, so like you have to make sure you choose your friends carefully. Because every friend you have, you should be able to put your life in their hand and theirs in your hand. Every friend. Did you know that?
Agreed. I didn't, but I agree with you on that one.
Huh?
I agree with you on that.
Why are you having a hard time with it?
I would say my past experience with people, which has allowed me not to be.
I'm not asking you
I'm
about
just
people.
telling you what you asked me.
Okay,
What you
okay,
asked
okay,
me.
okay,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Say it again. Nope. See now,
Okay,
I'm getting back in my shell. I came out for a
okay,
minute. Now
okay,
go on.
I'm sorry. I ain't got digging that skill, so I ain't got this
I
skill.
done retreated now, and I'm
Yeah,
back in my shell.
so what I want you to see is this. See,
Go ahead.
I need to see. I ain't got them digging that skills. I ain't got this.
You all, I was there.
Yeah. So I want to show you something. Okay.
Okay.
So this is my commandment that you love one another.
Mm-hmm.
You believe that?
I believe that.
Okay. You make it worse. As I loved you. Can you read verse 13?
Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
You know, when I talk, I be talking scripture all the time. So I
know.
kind of was setting you up, but
As always,
yeah, I'm shady that way.
it's okay.
Okay. But now the question is, will you do that?
I said with a select handful with some.
I didn't
You keep saying.
For everyone that you say is a friend, do that.
Okay, so hold on. Let me think about this. You said the only ones that I called a friend, would I do that for that friend, correct?
Yep.
So yes, I would do that because I call that
All
person.
that you call your friend.
Yeah, that person that I call my friend. Yes, I would do that.
I didn't say that person.
Well, you said,
All that you call your friend, would you do that for them?
all the people that I call, because this is what I'm hearing. Ones that I call my friend with an S is the ones that I would lay down my life for, correct?
Yep.
Yes, I would.
Okay. So that's your first stage on what you do to build your trust. That's where you build your faith.
Okay.
Where you can sit there and you can walk and the main thing is most people don't know it's actually a dangerous thing because you have a lot of people and you got a lot of people back here that say they're your friends. But if it comes to a life or death situation, what I'm saying,
Right.
would they do this? Everybody's not your friend.
You're right.
So this is what you do without question. So the same thing is when the same thing when Yahweh he died. There was people that didn't like him, but he died for them.
Mm.
He was just proving this is him. I'm gonna trust you 100%. So when you trust somebody 100%, they're gonna either kill you. So if they betray you, they're actually killing you. That's what they're proving to you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if they sit there and they hoodwink you out of $10, they just killed you. I don't care how we look at it, how you flip it, because there's no reason for them to steal $10 from you and you're their friend. Because if they needed the $10, all they had to do is say, "Hey, Tracy, I need that $10." And you would have gave it to them. Oh, hey, you cool. Here you are.
Absolutely.
So what would be the need for them to steal it? So they wasn't your friend.
Yep,
You follow me?
I do.
So so you have to practice that and you be real selective. That's why it says prove a friend.
Try them first.
Got to try them first. So you hold on to it, but you build up to it. But the goodest guinea pig, your husband, blindfolded and say, "Okay, I'm finna fall back," and he can't say nothing because then you can hear if he's behind you or not.
Well, I'm gonna try it. So
Yeah.
okay, I have a follow-up
Do you have some
question.
Beats by Dre? Because I'm gonna make it a
I
little bit.
do.
Okay, good. You put on them Beats by Dre, and you put on some music,
Okay.
and you put on falling. Put falling on there. Put that music falling, and then say, "I'm finna fall back right now, and I trust you're gonna be behind me." But one of them times he ain't gonna be behind you, and you need to fall back just stiff, just and just fall back like a.
We gonna try it
And if you
tonight.
and if you trust him that he's gonna be there, you
I
fall
trust
back.
him.
You trust he gonna be right there to get you.
Yeah, I trust that he'll be right there. I have no doubt that he wouldn't be.
Okay, but one of them times he ain't gonna be there.
I know, but
But you
then
gotta make sure.
that's what I have to do though.
But you got to make sure when he ain't there,
I
you
said it.
trust him. You trust him enough to where you don't do it.
Hold on, wait a minute. Say that again. Now. You said
Yeah, that's
trust
the
him
catch.
enough that
You
I
trust
don't
him
do
enough.
it.
Yeah, you trust him enough to where you sit there and you know if you trust a friend, you know how they operate. You always know if they're gonna be there or not. So if he told you don't go down that street, you know not to go down that street. If you sit there and say I'm gonna fall back and you know he ain't there, you'll know it. You'll know it automatically. Why? Because you're friends.
Oh, I'm let the voice here and listen. Okay. Okay. I picked that up now.
Now,
Okay.
now, if I don't see you in Bible therapy tomorrow, I'm gonna sit there and just say, "How's my sister?"
Just know to come and check on me, okay? Just
Yeah, sit there like, man, he gonna say, "Yeah, that was a bad thing the way she fell on that."
come and check on me. But I have a follow-up to the question about, once you have given that particular trust, right?
Hmm.
And that person betrays you. So how do you Not more so respond, but how do you act after that? Because I tend to cut people off very quickly.
Okay, why you do differently?
Okay, I just need to know if those are within the realms, because
Why you would do
I don't
differently?
keep people around me too long. If you show me
Mm-hmm.
one time, that's it.
There's no reason to operate around them.
Okay.
No reason whatsoever.
Okay.
It is what it is at that point.
Okay. That's all I need to know, because I don't, yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
ain't the way I move at all.
Yeah, no, but that's the way you should move.
Oh no, I move that way. I would cut you off quick.
Yeah.
I don't care what we have established. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't do that, because um I always lead with, I treat people the way that I want to be treated,
Mm-hmm.
and I give that trust, but I am selective. I will say that I am. But I will reference back to what you said, which is proof of fearing first,
Mm-hmm.
before you move forward in that arena. So
Yeah, cause you know how you can tell the enemy?
how
You give them the same trust.
we talked about that. I got
And
you.
guess what? And guess what you got to do? You got to drop all your guards.
You told me that.
Oh, I told you that.
You surely did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And guess what?
Mhm.
They gonna show you themselves. And then when you respond, it's nothing they can say. Nothing. They might, well, but I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm done.
Yeah.
You good. It's that straightforward.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Most certainly. I appreciate you.
Cool, cool. Appreciate you too, my sister. All righty. And Sister James. Oh, I already talked to you earlier this week, so I ain't got to talk to you now. I'm going to the next person.
Start that today. Don't start it today, Elder. We supposed to be on good terms. Don't start.
Okay. We're on good terms temporarily.
Temporarily? Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Well, my question was, you had mentioned about need like of course that faith is like needing proof all the time, or else you're not gonna believe in God. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not innocent doubt, but it's blasphemous contradiction. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to understand that a little bit more, like what innocent doubt looks like versus those like being like that blasphemy. Like I understand like if you pretty much tempting God and testing him like, oh, if he don't do this, then he ain't real. Like that's fake because you're operating by what you can see. But I just want to understand what it looks like with innocent doubt versus operating in faith so I can see going forward, because I know I've been operating in faith. I know it and I see it, but I want to move forward seeing how I do it per se and understanding what innocent doubt looks like versus doing those blasphemous contradictions.
Okay. So let's look at something. Okay. If a man say he love God and hate his brother, he is a liar. But he that loveth not his brother whom he have seen. So this is where the issues become. Faith based on faith. So how can you have faith in God and you already prove you don't have faith?
Say that one more time.
How you gonna prove that you have faith in God and you already prove you don't even have faith? Because you're saying, how you gonna love somebody who you can't see? How you gonna hate somebody you can't see, but say you love God who you can't see?
Right.
So what this is more of again an oxymoron where it kind of catches people up, because the same thing is faith is just like it's an animal. It's always eating, always hungry. So the same thing is where it gets with that's the marriage test. That's why I was showing it as the marriage test, because no matter what, that wife or that husband gonna always ask, what's this? What's this? What's this? Constant. It's always every time it's constant, constant. And then once it's even proven to where they don't have no proof there, guess what they do? They go to the next step. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? What about this? That's not proven? Okay, now let me go to this one. What about this one? What about that one? What about this? What about that? What about this? That can't be proven? Go to the next one. They're gonna keep going to it, and it'll never end. It's never end the cycle. So we end up losing everything that we was looking for, because everything is based on faith. I need to see you doing something. So if you have people who's operating on faith, okay, they always operating on based on what they need to see. And if they don't see it, they're gonna put something there that they don't see. And they just say, well, they doing it. I just ain't caught you doing it.
Right, because it's never being, it's like a need that's never being satisfied.
It's so since it can't be satisfied, I'm just going to attribute to you that you're doing it, and I'm gonna go to the next one. That's faith. That's faith operating at its best.
Okay.
So that's the biggest issue. So when you're operating in faith, that's why people sit there and they try to talk about, they have marriages in certain ways. That's technically not a marriage, because everything's operating on faith. You have to prove it. So the same thing is, okay, so you look at this here. We were just here. So the same thing is with God. You see here, and it says, when they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife, they hid themselves in the presence of the Lord. And the Lord called unto Adam. And he said, where art thou? He already had tied himself to him. So he gave them faith that they'll do the right thing, because he already told them, don't go do something from this tree. It was given. But what did they do? They committed adultery.
From operating on faith.
Yeah, because they was operating on faith. They seen that the tree was good for food. It was pleasant to her eyes. It tells you that, because it was operating on faith. That's why it says don't let the beauty is vain. So same thing you see here. It says, that in the day that they should eat thereof, that your eyes should be open, and you should be as gods, knowing good and evil. The woman saw that the tree was good for food. It was pleasant, looked good to her, to the eyes and desire to make one wise. But he already commanded, don't do this. So this is operating on faith, based over faith.
Okay, so that's faith, and then it goes from innocent doubt to blasphemous contradiction, because it's not innocent after you were given instruction on what to do. You was given that faith on what you needed to do, but that faith comes in when you go against that operation, right?
Yeah, when you go against it. So it's the same here. It says, wherefore, the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ. So the same thing, the law is structured on faith. This is literally structured on faith. And showing you how faith is being the schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ, that we might be justified by faith. He's telling you this all the time. And he says, but after faith has come, you're no longer under the schoolmaster. So then you're no longer under it. But a lot of us, no matter what, we still operating on faith. That's our issue. That's where our danger is.
Okay. Yeah, I just needed to understand that, because I don't know. Anytime blasphemy get brought up, my heart drop. I just
Yeah, but a lot of people already committed blasphemy because they believe in faith. They have to see something, and then if they don't see it, they still attribute it to the person. So let's look at something. Have you known somebody for a extended period of time?